Let me ask you something you've probably never said out loud. Have you ever felt ashamed because someone spoke fast English and your brain just shut down? You smiled, nodded, but deep inside, you felt stupid. Not because you are, but because you couldn't keep up. And that moment stayed with you, like a scar only you could see. Maybe it happened at work. Maybe in a meeting, a job interview, or a conversation where you were afraid to say, "Can you repeat that?" And now, fast English doesn't just feel fast, it feels like a reminder that you're not there yet, that you're not enough. But what if I told you the problem isn't English? It's not your ears, it's not your intelligence, it's your system, your identity as a listener. And today, we're going to reprogram it in just 5 minutes a day. You're about to learn a daily workout that trains your brain to decode fast English automatically. No more panic, no more rewinding 10 times, no more thinking, "This is too fast for me." Because after today, something new begins. You stop trying to catch up to English and start becoming the kind of person whose ears were built for it. So stay with me until the end. This isn't just a video, it's the turning point. Let's begin. He sat there, headphones in, watching yet another English video on YouTube, but all he heard was noise. It was like the speaker had thrown all their words into a blender. Every sentence melted into the next. It didn't sound like language, it sounded like chaos. The worst part, he thought something was wrong with him. "Maybe my brain is too slow," he whispered. His eyes scanned the subtitles, his fingers ready to rewind for the 5th time. What did they say? Became a daily question. And each time, the panic got louder. He didn't realize it yet, but the problem wasn't the speed of the English. It was the tension in his body. His shoulders were tight, his jaw clenched. His nervous system was in emergency mode. And in that state, even simple things sound impossible. No brain can focus when it feels unsafe. You see, your ears don't just receive sound, they receive emotion. When you feel tense, overwhelmed, or afraid, your brain shuts the door. Fast English isn't scary because it's fast. It's scary because it triggers the fear of not being good enough. That fear blocks everything. But something shifted. One night, instead of trying to understand, he did something strange. He played a video and listened to just 5 seconds, and with zero pressure, he told himself, "It's okay to not understand." And something unexpected happened. The sound felt slower. He realized his brain wasn't broken. It was just untrained, like an unexercised muscle. The speed of English wasn't the enemy. His internal state was. So before he pressed play again, he paused and let his shoulders drop. That one breath changed the whole experience. The real breakthrough came when he stopped blaming English and started training his ears, not to understand perfectly, but to feel calm while listening. He began with a simple rule: 5 minutes a day of listening, without needing to get it. No pressure, no panic, just exposure. He whispered a new mantra: "My brain can adapt." And slowly it did. Words began to separate. Sentences started making sense. It was never about intelligence. It was about emotional safety, nervous system regulation, and daily practice. And now, something bigger was awakening. If your goal is to stay confused forever, here's the formula. Every time you don't understand something in English, panic, rewind, rewind again. Try to catch every single word. Drive yourself crazy. It works like a charm. You'll guarantee mental exhaustion in minutes. Want to make zero progress? Easy. Just play English audio while doing 10 other things. Wash the dishes, check Instagram, reply to messages, think about lunch, all while listening. This way, your brain learns one powerful habit: don't focus. Congratulations, you've mastered passive failure. Now, if you truly want to feel overwhelmed fast, expect perfection. Believe that if you miss even one word, you're failing. Put pressure on yourself to understand everything. Don't enjoy the message. Don't relax. Just stress. It's the fastest path to burnout in English learning. And for that extra layer of confusion, jump from one accent to another without training your ear. One day American English, next day British, then Australian, then Indian. It's like throwing your brain into 5 different mazes at once and wondering why you're lost. Of course, I'm being ironic. But sadly, most learners live this way without knowing it. They repeat these habits daily, not out of laziness, but out of fear. Fear of missing out, fear of not being enough. But fear is not a method, it's a prison dressed as discipline. So let's flip the script. What if, when you didn't understand something, you let the confusion exist for 10 seconds? You breathe, you trust your brain to process it later, because it will. And that one habit trains patience, not panic, which is the foundation of real fluency. What if for 30 seconds you just listened with full attention? No phone, no multitasking, just you and the sounds. That kind of presence is rare, but it's also magnetic. When your brain feels respected, it starts cooperating, and comprehension rises like a tide. And finally, what if today you chose one accent, just one, and stayed with it? American, British, Canadian, doesn't matter. What matters is repetition, because your brain loves patterns. And once it learns the music of one accent, fast English starts sounding less like noise and more like rhythm. But rhythm? That's just the beginning. He sat in front of his laptop, headphones on, jaw clenched. The video was playing at normal speed, nothing unusual. But to him it sounded like fast-forwarded gibberish. He kept pressing rewind, again. But the more he listened, the more frustrated he became. It was a loop of confusion. His name was Amir. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't careless. In fact, he studied harder than most. But no matter how many videos he watched, the words didn't separate. They didn't click. They arrived like waves crashing on top of each other, unpredictable and loud. He felt stupid, though he wasn't. Then one night, something shifted. Instead of listening to the whole sentence, Amir paused after just 3 seconds, not to understand the meaning, but to notice the rhythm, the tone, the sound pattern. He didn't try to translate. He didn't even try to memorize. He just echoed what he heard. Ba-dum-bum, ba-da-ba. It almost felt like music. For the first time, Amir was treating English like sound, not language. He repeated those 3 seconds, again and again, but not with words, with rhythm. His brain stopped panicking. His ears started learning, not the content, the flow. One day, something magical happened. He watched a movie scene without subtitles. And though he didn't understand every word, he understood the melody of the message. He felt the emotion. He caught the rhythm. And suddenly, English didn't sound fast anymore. It sounded familiar. Amir didn't become fluent overnight. But every day, he did his 5-minute training. He would shadow 10 seconds of real audio, focusing only on rhythm, not grammar, not words, just pure human sound. And slowly, he discovered something shocking. Fast English is not random. It follows patterns. You see, native speakers repeat rhythms unconsciously. Question intonation, stressed syllables, reduced sounds. Amir had trained his ears to recognize these musical cues. It was like his brain could see the shape of English now. Meaning came after rhythm, not before. And in that moment, he wasn't just a student anymore. He was a listener, a decoder, a rhythm catcher. English stopped being noise. It became sound. Then sound became pattern. Then pattern became understanding. And understanding, that's what would soon become identity. Here's something most learners don't realize. Your brain can handle speed. What it can't handle is uncertainty. When you hear fast English, your brain doesn't panic because it's fast. It panics because it can't predict what's coming. And that creates a threat response, just like when you sense danger. Your brain is a prediction machine. Every second, it tries to guess what sound, word, or idea is coming next. And when it guesses right, everything flows. But when it can't, anxiety rises, confusion enters, and your brain freezes, not because it's slow, but because it's unsure. Uncertainty is the real enemy. This is called the prediction gap. The wider the gap, the more confused you feel. That's why listening twice to the same sentence helps. The first time, your brain builds the map. The second time, it fills in the blanks. So instead of repeating everything 10 times, try this. Listen to a 5-second clip twice, just twice. Then pause, breathe. Now, let's talk about fear. When you panic while listening, your brain activates its threat filter. It's a real mechanism, and it shuts down processing speed by up to 40%. That means you're not bad at English, you're just in a mild fight or flight mode. The solution? 10 seconds of deep breathing before listening. Not optional, essential. And here's the trap most learners fall into: overthinking while listening. That inner voice saying, wait, what does that mean? Is that correct grammar? Should I know this word? That voice is noise. It blocks the signal. It's like trying to hear music while someone shouts in your ear. You need silence inside to hear clarity outside. Try this for one clip. Listen once and don't translate. Don't chase meaning. Don't judge yourself. Just let the sound pass through. Your brain absorbs more when it feels safe and free, not when it's forced to decode every millisecond. It's a paradox. The less you try to control it, the more you understand. And remember this psychological law: familiarity reduces fear. It's not understanding that builds confidence, it's exposure. When you hear the same clip 5 times over 2 minutes, something powerful happens. The brain relaxes. It says, oh, I've heard this before. And in that state, speed becomes softness. So if you've ever thought, why does fast English make me anxious? Now you know. It's not about volume or grammar. It's about the unknown, the unpredictable. But here's the good news. You can train your brain to feel safe in the unknown. And that changes everything about how you listen. Did you enjoy the content and it made a difference for you? Click on Super Thanks and support our work. There comes a moment in every learner's journey when it stops being about English and starts being about self-worth. When fast speech doesn't just feel fast, it feels like a personal attack. Why can't I get this? What's wrong with me? And beneath the frustration, a silent shame begins to grow. It's not just about speed, it's about feeling stupid, less capable, less intelligent. You hear someone speak fast English and suddenly you shrink. You start comparing, doubting. You don't hear words, you hear proof that you're not good enough. But none of that is true. It's just identity confusion, disguised as language struggle. You remember moments that still sting. The job interview where you froze. The meeting where you smiled and nodded but understood nothing. The time someone laughed because you asked them to please slower speak. These memories don't just live in your mind. They live in your story, in who you believe you are. Every failure gets stored in what I call your shame bank. And each time you listen to English and fail again, you make another deposit. But here's the truth. That bank is not real. It's a trap. It's not holding your failures. It's holding your false beliefs. And the only way to escape it is to rewrite the story. So tonight, try something radical. Go back to one of those memories and listen to English again. But this time, stay calm. Breathe. Don't fight the fast words. Just be present. Let the sound pass through you like wind through trees. No judgment, no shame. Just a human being, listening again with courage. Because understanding fast English isn't just a skill, it's a form of self-trust. It's learning to stay with yourself in moments of discomfort, to say, I am not broken, I am becoming. That mindset alone changes how you hear every word, because when you stop attacking yourself, your brain stops defending. And here's a powerful reflection. Identity is expandable. You are not the person who can't understand fast English. That was just a temporary version of you. Who you become is shaped by the way you listen, think, and speak, not by your past failures. English becomes easier the moment you stop fighting who you are. So ask yourself now, not how do I understand fast English, but who am I becoming as I listen? That shift alone changes your posture, your energy, your brain chemistry, because once your identity changes, your comprehension follows like a shadow. And from there, something even deeper begins to awaken. The brain is not a hard drive. It's a living rhythm machine. Before it processes meaning, it maps sound. Before you understand English, your auditory system searches for patterns. And when it hears those patterns again and again, something magical happens. Speed becomes familiar, fast becomes normal. This is called the auditory mapping effect. You're not memorizing words, you're creating neural highways. Think of a road you drive every day. At first you notice every turn, but after weeks you get there without thinking. Listening works the same way, but only if you repeat the route daily. That's why your brain doesn't hear individual words. It hears chunks, groups, phrases, sound clusters. You think you're hearing, "How are you?" But your brain only stores the shape of it, "How are ya?" That's the chunking mechanism, and the better you chunk, the faster your brain understands. So what should you do? Start micro-listening. Take a 5-second English clip and repeat it 5 times, but don't try to understand it first. Just hear the sound, hum the rhythm, shadow the tone. Your goal isn't perfection, it's recognition. And when your brain recognizes, it relaxes. That's where fluency is born. This is the power of micro-repetition. You don't need hours of study. You need depth, not duration. Repeating a 4-second clip with full focus creates more change than watching 30 minutes of English while scrolling your phone. Short, deep, daily. That's the formula for brain adaptation. And here's what's beautiful. After enough repetition, something called the speed normalization curve begins. Your brain doesn't slow English down. It simply speeds up its processing. What once felt overwhelming now feels ordinary. And one day, without warning, you'll realize, wait, I understood that. To activate this curve, try listening to a 10-second clip at 1.25x speed, just once a day. Yes, faster than normal. Not to pressure your brain, but to stretch it. Just like athletes train at high intensity to perform better in real games. Your brain adapts best when it's gently challenged. So if you've been waiting for confidence to arrive before you listen again, stop waiting. Confidence is not a requirement. It's a result. And it begins in those 5-minute daily rituals where you hum, repeat, shadow, stretch, and awaken the natural rhythm hidden inside you. And once that rhythm is unlocked, the transformation accelerates. Something subtle begins to change. You don't even notice it at first. One day someone speaks quickly, and instead of freezing, you breathe. You don't understand every word, but you understand the feeling, the tone, the rhythm. You don't panic, you respond. This is the first shift, the reaction shift, because now, when someone speaks fast, your brain doesn't scream too fast. It whispers, wait, I know this. That voice of fear that used to control your ears. It fades. Slowly, you become someone who stays calm in the speed of conversation. The second shift is comprehension. Not perfect, but real. You start catching the idea, even if you miss a few words. You don't get stuck on every syllable. You flow with the message. And that is fluency, not understanding everything, but understanding enough to keep going. Try this. Listen to a 15-second audio clip without pausing, just once. Then pause and ask yourself, what did I understand? Even if you can summarize in just 1 or 2 English sentences, that's a win. That's your brain showing up, even when things are still hard. And then something beautiful happens. People around you notice. Your English sounds better. You're not freezing anymore. You speak more naturally now. The compliments aren't just about language, they're about confidence. Because confidence is what people really hear when you speak. This is the third shift, identity. You're no longer the person who avoids conversations. You start replying to messages in English, joining small conversations, saying yes when someone says, "Do you understand?" Not because you know every word, but because you're no longer afraid to not know. Now the world opens. A meeting at work suddenly feels possible. Talking to that foreign friend isn't scary anymore. Applying for that job, traveling, making international connections, all of it starts with one change. You hear English differently, not as noise, but as music. And here's what no one tells you. The doors that open from listening are sometimes bigger than the doors from speaking. Because when you truly hear someone, you connect. And when you can connect across languages, accents, emotions, you step into a whole new version of yourself. And that version is about to meet something deeper. Why couldn't I understand before? He asked himself quietly, not with blame, but with curiosity. And the answer came, because I was listening like a student, not like a human. He was listening for words, rules, grammar, but real understanding lives in rhythm, emotion, and patience. Now he listens for ideas, not for every word. He stopped chasing perfection and started receiving connection, and that changed everything. He whispers to himself now before practice, I listen to ideas, not words. That one sentence clears the noise in his head. What changed me, he wonders. Not a teacher, not a course, a ritual, 5 minutes a day, the same clip repeated, the same voice, shadowed, the same breath, practiced. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, invisible. But over time, it rewired his brain. It rewired him. And tonight, he's doing it again. A full 5-minute listening workout. No distractions, no pressure. Just him, his ears, and the rhythm of real English. This isn't homework, this is identity work. Because each time he listens now, he's not trying to survive the language. He's learning to belong inside it. Who am I becoming? He asks. Not someone who learns English, someone who lives it. A person whose ears know the melody, whose brain doesn't panic, whose identity includes, I speak, I understand, I belong. And he repeats, fast English is easy for me, not because it is, but because he's becoming the person who can handle it. And that's the secret. You don't become fluent by chasing speed. You become fluent by shifting identity, from I can't understand to I'm training, from I'm behind to I'm becoming. This shift is silent, but it echoes through every sentence you hear. What happens next? He smiles. The answer is simple. I stop surviving English. I start receiving it. The pressure drops. The fear dissolves. His ears become open, not just to language, but to opportunity, to people, to the world, because now he's no longer blocked by sound. And to lock in this new identity, he opens his phone, records a 10-second summary after his workout, not for anyone else, for himself, to prove I heard, I understood, I spoke. And every night those 10 seconds become a celebration, a declaration, a quiet reminder of the person he's becoming. Now I want to ask you something simple, but life-changing. What kind of listener do you want to be? Not just in English, but in your life. Do you want to keep surviving conversations, or start connecting deeply with them? Because here's the truth. English is not just a language, it's a mirror. It reflects how you face fear, how you respond to pressure, how much space you allow yourself to grow. So today, don't just remember the techniques. Remember the feeling, that moment when you realized your brain is not broken. It just needed a new kind of training, a new identity. And if this video stirred something inside you, a desire to finally own your voice, understand fast English, and transform your future, then join us on this journey. Tell me in the comments, what's one small thing you'll do today to train your ears and change your story? I read every comment. You're not alone here. If this spoke to your soul, support the channel, hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this with someone who's secretly struggling, just like you were. Because the ears you train today are building the future version of you that no longer runs from fast English, but listens with calm confidence and power.